This is the 2025 Polestar 3. This is the first SUV from Polestar, which is the performance arm of Volvo. Back in the day, they used to build performance cars, but they decided to change strategy and build electric cars. But that doesn't mean that they're not performance. In fact, this is one of the most powerful Volvos on the road. This one comes in at 519 horsepower and 670 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of torque, that's a lot of horsepower for a 5-passenger, 4-door hatchback style SUV. We took a test drive. We explored the technology. We measured for child passenger or car seats. We look at the cargo area, and we'll show you everything that you need to know about the 2025 Polestar 3. Be sure to follow along on all of our social media channels, subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you see a video pop up in this corner, click on it. We put it there because we think you're going to like it. The Polestar 3 is notable for its really sporty exterior. It has that sloped roofline, and these large sport wheels, these are actually summer tires, are pressed out to the corners of the car for great cornering and drive capability. There are a lot of aerodynamic details built into this car, including these little air deflector panels right there on the rear. There's a rear spoiler and a spoiler over the window, and then there is the Polestar badge there. You'll notice how the rear taillights pop out from the frame just a little bit, kind of a clever detail. And then you'll notice again, that floating low roofline with the spoiler there. On the front of the Polestar 3, there are also some defining details. We have these Thor's hammer style headlights. That's something it does share with the Volvo EX90 and the EX30. You'll notice it has this really distinct front grille marked with the Polestar badge there. And then you'll notice here, this actually is an aerodynamic panel as well. You can see it's actually an air curtain designed to aid flow of the air from the front grille through that air panel and over the roof and to the spoiler to help the aerodynamics of the Polestar 3. So Mark, say hello.
Hello.
Mark and I have been driving all day through the mountains and the countryside around Idaho and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I will tell you it's beautiful. I'll show you some of that. But how does the Polestar 3 perform? Well, I'm going to say it's really fun to drive. But come on, 500 horsepower. So we had a chance to drive both. The long-range dual motor, which has a range of about 315 miles and delivers 489 horsepower. And then this one, which is the long-range dual motor performance edition, which also has 315 mile range, but delivers 519 horsepower. It's not a lot of difference, but it is about $3,000 or $4,000 difference in price. There are some options, so there's some ways to, if it really matters to you, you probably could get this car for less than the other one by foregoing some of the options. Behind the wheel, it's pretty good. This is built on the same platform as the Volvo EX90. That is a 3-row SUV. This is a 2-row SUV. This is sporty and performance focused. That is more family focused and more about the long distance drive capability for family drivers. And I don't know if you saw the landscape background just fly by me right there. So there was a slow truck in front of me, and I just floored the accelerator and passed him when it was safe to do so. And there is no lag. And this is the thing that I love the most about driving a car like this. When I decided I wanted to pass, all I had to do was put my foot to the floor. I didn't have to really think about it. I didn't have to steel myself for that split second or second even when you hit the accelerator, and then it takes time for the engine to build up that speed. In an electric car, it doesn't take any time for that speed to build up. It's instant. And that is because we do have 570 or so pound-feet of torque in this particular car, and there's a lot of torque in the other model as well. We're in the long range dual motor performance model. It has a range of 279 miles, but it delivers more power, 519 horsepower and 671 pound-feet of torque, so a lot of torque. The standard model has a range of 315 miles. It has delivers 489 horsepower and 620 pound-feet of torque. Either way, both are really fast, both are really powerful, and both are really fun. Like the Volvo, the Polestar has a front. Here's how you open it. There's this yellow lever here, which when I popped the hood, I could see it right underneath there. And there is a door that opens here. There's a small cargo space. This is where the level 2 charge cord is. This is pretty nice, actually. They include a level 2 charge cord. So this actually may be an option, but if you want to charge level 2 at home or at some place where they have that type of outlet, you have the cord to do it. And then there also is, I would call this an emergency kit. So this is a wheel recovery, tire repair kit, air compressor. So pretty nice to have a frunk with a tiny amount of storage space. If you're wondering what this is in my hand, this is my card key. They didn't even give us key fobs to drive the Polestar 3. They actually gave us just these card keys. I'm going to show you how this works too. The door handles pop out. And if you're using the card key, it's important to know that you'll have to put the card key right here in order to start the car. You don't need to do that if you're using a key fob. But let's talk about what you get in this car. So it starts with the Polestar wheel here. It's leather covered. We have these very demure buttons here. It's really just a touch sensitive panel here and here. The windshield wipers are over here. The gear selector is over here. And this is our driver display. And I'll show you, you can customize this, and it actually holds quite a lot of information. And then up there, from that box, is the head-up display. The dashboard is notable for this really beautiful design. It's got this open pore wood and these vents that span the entire dash. And you can actually just move the vents like this, and it's really gorgeous. It's a very elegant, minimalist approach. The touchscreen extends over into this lower storage area. There's a floating center console here. So the floating center console and a nice little storage area here. This is a nice place to put something, a small bag or something like that. It's a small space, but it is really nice. If you need to charge your phone using USB ports, there are two right here that you can use, or you can use the wireless phone charger once you're done using the card key. This is the only button or dial in the entire car. This is the radio volume, and then you can turn on or off the radio using this as well. There are two cup holders here, and if you don't want to have those open, you can actually close this retractable top, or you can keep it open. And then here, underneath the armrest, there's a really deep center console. So the space is well organized, it's pretty, and it's very convenient. But this is really what I want to show you, are these two screens. Almost everything in the Polestar 3 is going to be operated via this 14-inch center screen. So you'll see that we have our map here. We don't have our phone connected, and then there's a screen here that shows us we have Tidal up. So, but you can use Spotify or other apps, and that is displayed there. If you want to see all your apps, just tap those little squares, and you'll see all of your app selections here. If you want to see, and then that you can tap home to get back to that main map. Let's see, if I go to home, I can tap these other items here. So I can get my camera up. I can make driver adjustments really quickly there. I'll show you all about that. I can open the glove box right there, and I can tap for the Google Assistant. But I don't even need to tap for the Google Assistant because I can do this. Hey, Google. And there it is. And so the Google Assistant can do anything that's cloud connected or or software connected. It can't do hardwired things like open the windows or turn on the heated seat, but it can adjust the cabin temperature. You can tap this for climate control. You can control the front climate or the rear climate, and you can even turn on the rear heated seats if you'd like to. And here you can turn on Eco, which will control the temperature to optimize your battery level. You can turn on the air conditioning, you can turn on the heating, and then you can change the airflow. If you tap the seat icon right there, you can turn on the heated steering wheel, the heated seat, or the vented seat. This is different than the Volvo EX90, which does not have the vented seat. But this is the most important thing here, and that is tap the car for driver settings. So there are some shortcuts. You can adjust your headlights, so we have them set to auto, but you can turn them on or turn them off. You can change the interior lights to gold or white, however you would like that. You can adjust the display brightness, and you can adjust the head-up display. You can also set the driver adjustment. There are no buttons or dials or details here for adjusting those side mirrors. You're actually going to do those right here. So when I tap left mirror, it tells me now to adjust my mirror using these buttons on the steering wheel. So as I press my finger on that button, I can adjust that mirror, and I can adjust this mirror. And then I can also adjust the steering wheel by tapping this button, and the steering wheel goes up or down. You'll see the indicator there in the driver display, and I can move it in or out. So this will move it in, and the right side will move it out. And then I can also adjust the head-up display, and I will show you what that looks like. Also tap the car icon for your drive mode settings. This is a pretty big, comprehensive list of settings, but this is where you're going to customize your one pedal drive. So I have it on standard, I have it on firm, I have turned off creep mode because I don't want that on. I have, this is where you can turn on or off traction control for sport mode. I can have the power delivery set for range or for performance. I like range because I want more out of the battery. And then I can adjust my suspension feel. And if I go back, I can also turn on or off my drive assist features. I can adjust my charge, and I can actually set a schedule for charging. I can play with the sound in the car. Because we have the premium audio system, there are 25 speakers in here, so I can adjust that. This is where I can connect to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth if I want to connect to a phone. I can set my privacy settings. Here's our system information, Google information, and again, control. So if I want to adjust my steering wheel, this is the long way around, but it does give you an alternate way of reaching those features. And then there's car status. And this is where you're going to find when I need my next service, how much the reading on my odometer and my overall car health. I can check my tire pressure, and I can check my key tag. So I have one key tag or key fob, I guess is really what it is. And it says that it's charged. So these are your quick settings, and you just reach those by tapping the car right there at the bottom of the screen. Part of the future of this car is performance, and Polestar will deliver a performance app to buyers, but it's not yet available, so we have that little icon there. And then when you're driving, when it's in drive, once we put the car into drive, we get these different icons here. So we can tap performance to put it in performance or turn it off, and then it goes into the range setting. And then I can turn on or off one pedal drive. And notice I can turn it off, I can turn it to low, or I can turn it to standard just by tapping that icon. This toolbar here will change based on what's on the screen or what's going on here or what gear you're in. These functions are not always the same. This toolbar here on the bottom is climate, and there's the emergency flashers and your car icon, and those are static. Those are not going to change. When you tap the car icon, you also get this toolbar down here. You can lock the windows and put on the child locks on the doors and on the windows. You can put on reduced alarm. This is where your performance bar is, and lane keeping assist. On the driver display, you'll notice there's a lot of information here. So I can see that my headlights are on, the speed limit, the speed that I'm going. I can see that I'm sitting in the car, and I can see I've got 85 miles of range left on this car, and my lane keep assist is off, and I don't have my seatbelt on. And I'm in drive, so I don't need to be in drive. I'll put it in park. And that's something that's nice to know, that you're in park. But I want to customize my screen, so I can press this little button on the top of the screen, and that gives me voice assist. I can press the button on the bottom, and this allows me to customize my screen. So I can see my speed and battery, I can see my map, or I can see my drive assist features that are active. And in fact, I can see I don't have lane keep assist on. So I'm going to turn on my lane keep assist by turning this on over here. And now I don't see that it's off, it just shows me that it's on. This window control will take a little learning. Press it one way when the light is on, and it controls the front windows. And press it so the light is off, and it controls the rear windows. Upholstery options in the Polestar 3 are pretty good. So you have the option of leather, which we have this Nappa leather, and this is 100% tracked Nappa leather. And what Polestar says is they ensure the welfare of the animals that are used to create this upholstery, and they are assure that it's sustainably sourced. That is the same with the wool that they use, and then there also is a leatherette option. One of the Bowers & Wilkins premium sound system is this, a headrest that actually has speakers in it. So you'll note that it has that Bowers & Wilkins tag on the side of the headrest, but actually embedded in here, and you can't see them, it's a cushy, squishy headrest, so it's very comfortable, but in here there are speakers, so you can actually hear, although I will say it wasn't real loud, it really is more of an ambient sound, it adds to the sound, it's not specific, but they're right in here, and you can hear music coming out of these speakers. With this premium system, you can get speakers in just the front headrest or in all four. Our test model is equipped with the gold package, and that means you get these beautiful gold seat belts on all 5 seats, as well as gold sport brakes and valve covers on the wheels. The magic of an electric car is lots of legroom. And this is something that families are finding out, that rear seat legroom is fantastic. The seats are bigger, and that's all because of how the batteries actually fit underneath the floor of this car. They call it a skateboard, and you think about the batteries really are the foundation of the car, and then the car's chassis and the body and the cabin all sit on top of that. Well, in order to have enough batteries, that means you need extra space. That's why so many of them are SUVs, and that's why so many of them are so roomy, including the Polestar 3. So first of all, look at this legroom. I have a lot of space, and I have a flat floor, so there's no hump in the middle of the floor here, which means that somebody sitting in the center seat, in the middle seat, is going to be pretty comfortable too. What else do we have in the second row or the rear seat of the Polestar 3? Well, there is this really lovely fold-down armrest that has pop-out cup holders here, which is a nice thing, but there's really elegant treatment, and it has the Polestar logo embedded in the leather, just like it does here on the seat back. There is seating for 3. There are car seats, full latches for on the outboard seats for child passenger car seats, and these are ISOFIX, so there's the fixed latches are there, anchors are there, and this is the cover that you can pull out if you need to attach those car seats. Rear seat passengers also have pockets here. There is a climate control panel here. It's very simple. You just can tap up or down and you can adjust the fan. There are heated seats, which is part of a package in our car, and there are 2 USB ports. Rear seat passengers also get the benefit of this entire sunroof, which is covered with a film that keeps the UV rays out and is designed to keep the car cool on a hot day. So that's a nice thing. And then let's measure for the child passenger car seats. So remember, we need 29 inches for a rear-facing child passenger car seat. This seat is set for someone who's moderately tall, I would say. Somebody who's maybe my height, 5'8" or so. And I have 34, almost 35 inches seat back to seat back here. And this is the wide part, or the part that extends out. So I'm I'll call it 34.5 inches seat back to seat back. That's ample. Behind me, not quite as much space, so I have about 33 inches here. Still, that is plenty of space for a rear-facing child passenger car seat. Now, the next question is, can we fit 3 across? So I'm going to measure this outboard seat, and I'm going to measure, let's see, side to side. So I have about 19 inches. This seat is about 19 inches wide. This seat is about 19 inches wide. This one, between those measures, is about 14 inches wide, and then we have about 11.5 inches seat belt to seat belt. So from this receptacle to this receptacle is about 11.5 inches. That's going to be a little tight for an adult to sit there, although it could be enough space for a booster seat or for the base of an infant seat if that's what you needed to do. So there is some configurability in this car. And can you get 3 across? I think you can, as long as they are slender seats that will fit in the width of this entire seat, which goes, I don't usually do this, but I'll do this, 52 inches all the way across. So that's pretty nice. And what do we have here? I've got about 14 inches of leg room from the seat there to the edge of this seat, about 14 inches of leg room. So pretty good space for a 5-passenger SUV. One of the things to really love in the Polestar 3 is all the cargo area. So there's a camera here. This is your rear view camera. There is a sensor here for parking. Underneath there is the trunk latch. So it's really just right in the middle there. We have this really nice large cargo area, plenty of space for everything that you need. And then there's this, which is an option, and that is the multi-folding cargo floor. So it comes as part of a package. I shouldn't call it an option, but it's part of a package that you can get this multifunctional folding cargo floor. So you can either just fold it completely out of the way. You can fold it up like that, and that'll give you lots of space. And I'll show you what this looks like underneath here. Or you can stow some things in there, put the cargo floor over it, and away you go. The height of the Polestar 3 is comfortable, has a really nice ground clearance, and what that means is it's great for tailgating. You have this nice space above. There is a light here, so if you're trying to get things out of your cargo area, you've got some light work light. If it's dark out, clearance is very comfortable, so that means it's going to be easy for managing cargo or other things in the cargo space of the Polestar 3. The rear seats also are 40-60 folding, and there's a center space that you can use for long items like skis or fishing poles or other things that need the full extent of the cargo space and the rear seat. This is our level 3 charge port. This is level 2. This is the level 3 part. You can cover that up, and to disconnect the cord, you can just push that and it will release the cord. So I hope you noticed that. I just pulled the gear selector and away we go. There's no stop-start button in this car. You just get in with your key. In this case, we have a card key. It goes right there, but you can get a key fob. And once you have the key and you're in the car, you just pull the gear selector and away you go. Everything that you're going to need is right here on the center screen. There's this small driver display here, and then there's a head-up display. And the whole idea is to have really good visibility. And I will say I do really like the visibility. The side mirrors are really nice. They are frameless, so it means it's all mirror and no plastic surrounding it. And then a nice wide view of the road through the windshield. I like to sit up pretty high. You can see where I am. I still have, even though my seat is pretty high, I still got 6 or 8 inches between my head and the sunroof there. And so I feel very comfortable. I don't feel claustrophobic, but I'm sitting up nice and high and I have a great view of the road. And I like that. I will say this is going to take some learning, this center screen. There's not a lot of controls and functions outside of that center screen. We do have some things on the steering wheel here. And of course the gear selector here and the windshield wipers over on the left side. And that's kind of it. But that is modern minimalist design. And so now we're on this nice twisty road. I want to show you guys this. And down here, there's a quick access button for performance or standard. And standard is sort of normal comfort mode. It, might be what you want to use driving around town. And it actually is, they call it range because that is going to give you the best range. And then you have one pedal driving. I can turn that on or off. So I've turned it off. And I turn it back on. I can set the level of one pedal driving here in the touch screen, and that gives me even more regenerative braking as I'm driving. So when I lift my foot off the accelerator, it almost acts as a brake. It's not on right now, so I'm not really feeling that. But I really want to be in performance mode because we're on this beautiful road, and I really would like to drive maybe a little bit more challenging way, a more challenging drive experience, and enjoy the curves of this road without terrifying my passenger. He's probably laughing at that because I drive like an old lady, but I want to be safe, but I do enjoy a really beautiful drive and I enjoy the power. The power feels really good. This car is also designed with more of a sport-tuned suspension. So it has torque vectoring, which means basically power to each wheel that will allow you to hug each corner a little bit more, and it's designed for you to really feel the corners. This is opposite of the Volvo. The Volvo EX90, which of course is built on the same platform, is designed to allow you to not feel those things. So people in the third row don't feel a little tossed around and maybe a little nauseous. In this car, they want you to be able to, you can turn it on or off, that sport suspension, but they want you to be able to feel the curves in the road if you so desire. And that's kind of a nice option to have. So now we're back out on the country road. We've driven by the lake, and now we're going to go through the mountains. And this is where you'll really enjoy driving this car. Now, let's talk about how we get all of that horsepower harnessed here in the drive experience. It's this little button here. This is our performance mode, and I can tap that. Now I'm in range mode, which is going to optimize my speed and power for the range, so to get more miles from the charge on the battery. But if I tap this, then it's like, forget about that, let's just have fun. And I will say, it is fun. The Polestar 3 offers you several different ways of regenerative braking. So there is performance mode or long range mode and range mode. And range mode will optimize the car's performance to use less of the battery power, so to extend your range. That's one. Number two is to set the one pedal driving level, and you can set it for off, so it just drives like any average car. You can set it for low, which means you have some regenerative braking. It slows somewhat when you take your foot off the accelerator. And then you can set it for standard, which is actually the max regen mode. The last thing you can do is you can turn on or off creep mode. And creep mode means that when you are, say, sitting at a traffic light and you let your foot off the brake, the car will move forward, just like in a gas-powered car. And so I have creep mode turned off. I have range mode on, or I'm in range mode, and I have full one pedal driving. And so now, and I'm going to just watch my head and the headrest. So now, as I let my foot off the accelerator, I can feel the car slowing quite dramatically. Now, this is not the one pedal driving that you'll find in some other cars. Tesla probably has the most assertive one pedal driving mode. There are others that have very assertive one pedal driving modes. Another one that I think of is the Mustang Mach-E. This is not that. This is more actively slowing the car. If you're driving in slow traffic, say in town, 20 to 30 miles an hour, you probably could learn to drive only using the accelerator and and lifting your foot off the accelerator or giving it more acceleration and use it without really using the brake. And that's going to give you the max regen in one pedal driving mode, but it's still not it won't bring you fully to a stop, and you don't feel it dramatically when you take your foot off the accelerator. But that's not really the point. Polestar's approach to the regenerative braking and drive experience in this car is to create a really natural experience for you. So not that shocking max regen mode when you take your foot off the accelerator, but that it just feels natural, that you feel in command of the car, that the car feels in command of the road. Driving the car today was really a delightful experience. I appreciated how it accelerated through the curves. I appreciated having that instant torque when I needed to speed up and pass a car on the highway or a slow truck on the highway. I've been driving all day long since 9:30 or 10 o'clock this morning. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We drove all the way out and all the way back. So probably a couple hundred miles. I still have 37% left on the battery. I don't have any fear that I might run out of power, which is a good thing. And that's another thing that Polestar wants you to feel comfortable with in driving the Polestar 3. So this is what Drive Assist looks like in the Polestar 3. So this is adaptive cruise. It is not hands-free, so I have to have my hands on the steering wheel. But notice that it's tracking the car ahead of me. That's the yellow car. It's telling me to keep my hands on the steering wheel, though they are. It's showing me the speed limit that I've set, the speed that we're going, and it also shows me that my lane keep assist is active, so you can see that right there. Very clever, Polestar. The Polestar 3 comes in two versions. There's the long-range dual motor and there's the long-range dual motor performance. The performance model has about 30 more horsepower, but slightly less range, and it adds about $3,000 to the price, but it does come with a few more perks. The standard model, the standard long-range model, delivers 489 horsepower and 620 pound-feet of torque, and it has a range of 315 miles. The performance model, which is what we're driving here, delivers 519 horsepower, 670 pound-feet of torque, that's a lot of torque, and has a driving range of about 280 miles. That range is probably somewhat lower because there's more power, but it's also due to these bigger 22-inch wheels. Standard model starts at just under $74,000. Performance model starts at about $79,000. And both of those are enough to qualify for federal tax incentives because this car is built in South Carolina. However, if you want any of the goodies, the Pilot Pack, the Performance Package, Nappa leather, those are all going to put you over that $80,000 mark. But at that point, do you really need the incentive? That's up to you. If you don't want to add all those things though, you don't have to, because you still get a really beautifully finished, beautifully built, fun to drive, all electric SUV that is all about performance from the performance arm of Volvo, which is Polestar, in the 2025 Polestar 3.